Somewhere in Africa, I drive past a lonely acacia tree. This holiday season, I'm away from home again. Last Christmas by Wham is playing on the radio. I feel a deep longing to be loved and celebrated. I think of the last man I gave my heart to, and the very next day he just gave it away. I burst into tears. I've just arrived at the UN headquarters in Kenya. I wipe my eyes and put a smile on my face. I march onwards and forwards into my office, just like I do every day. Push down the emotions, be strong and have it all under control, be good and appropriate. I'm 6 years old. I'm in my new boarding school in India. Good morning, Manka. I look up at the new teacher. I barely reach her waist. It's still pretty dark, so I look confused. Your father will come back for you on Sundays, she says. Now hurry along so Aya can get you ready. Did I do something wrong to end up here, away from home? Apparently I did something because now I'm being punished. Aya, my new nanny, yanks my hair as she combs it. There are 10 other girls waiting to be prepared after me. I feel small, like I don't matter. An overwhelming feeling of not being wanted floods over me. I hold back the tears from dribbling down my eyes and my nose. I don't want to be told that I ruined my face just when she washed it. I want Aya to love me. I want to stay in her good books. I also don't want her to yell so loudly when waking us at 5:30 in the morning. I notice that I'm treated nicely when I do well at school. It seems to me that as I am is not enough. So I decide to work really hard to become the apple of everyone's eye. My plan is to excel in life. I become school captain, receive scholarships to college in Paris, start working in the United Nations. My accomplishments help me attract attention towards me. I learned to avoid feelings of not being enough and wanted by pleasing others around me and complying with their expectations. If I become the good girl, I thought, then I would be seen. Then I would become valuable. Then I would feel safe to love again. Where would you like to go for dinner, gorgeous? My partner asks me. I think of the last place he really enjoyed his steak. What do you think about Batubara? I ask sheepishly. I'm delighted that he lights up with my idea, even though I'm mostly vegan. When we first started dating, I adjusted my eating style to align with his. I adapted my sleeping time as per his waking hours. I even handed him the AC remote, even as I was freezing. When he didn't choose what I desired, I got disappointed and resentful. I'm sitting on the floor meditating. A vision from my childhood home flashes in my mind's eye. I'm standing in the living room surrounded by a large group of people. There's pink, blue, and yellow balloons all around me. I'm dressed like a fairy princess. My father hands me a knife to cut the cake. I stomp my feet and begin to grumble. I continue to search the crowd for my mother. If she loved me, she would have arrived by now. I feel, once again, unloved and abandoned. 5 years ago, I joined a life coaching certification program. My trainer, Warren, taught me to meditate by following and feeling my emotions. I was surprised to discover how much anger I had inside of me. In my actual 8th birthday party, I cut the cake and faked celebration. But as I reimagine the memory now, I allow my 8-year-old to express herself. When my father hands her a knife to cut the cake, she takes the knife and points it at her guests. She wants them to go away and leave her alone. The more you tell her to cut the cake and put on her dancing shoes, the wilder she gets and her anger intensifies. The adult version of me now steps into this image. The birthday celebrations are over. The little girl is now alone in the center of a large, desolated building. I wonder if this is an abandoned chapel or a Catholic school. The air between us feels dense and numb. Her back is hunched as she sketches with charcoal on the floor. She's acutely aware of my presence, but won't acknowledge me. What's wrong, Grumpet? She doesn't respond. I place a soft white blanket and hot cocoa between us. She accepts. She's a cute little puddle in that blanket. A stream of warm cocoa runs down her chin as she glances at me sideways. You are allowed to be angry, you know. There's nothing wrong with how you feel. Your anger is not something to be ashamed of. It tells me that you missed your mom. Would you like me to show you how to express emotions in healthy ways? As my inner nurturer comforts my inner child in this visualization, the sulk on her face starts to soften. She climbs on my lap and peeks into my bag. She wants to see what other goodies I have brought for her. It's 3 a.m. and I'm awake at this odd hour again. Tom's gorgeous eyes and broad shoulders flash before me. I texted him. It's been a week and he hasn't responded. I take a cushion and I scream into it. Then I hear a voice in my head. What do you feel? The voice asks. I grab my meditation cushion and sit up tall. I feel anxious, like someone punched me in my stomach. But this doesn't make sense. I barely knew Tom. What do you feel? The voice asks again. I feel rejected by life, I blurt out. I feel abandoned, not by these men, not by my family, but worse, I feel abandoned by God himself. If God loved me, he would give me what I wanted. As I let the words sink in, I feel a familiar heat swell up in my ears. I now see that my anger is only protecting my pain underneath. I follow the emotion all the way down to the source belief. I now see clearly which disempowering beliefs are keeping me trapped. Healing my abandonment wound freed me from being stuck in a loop of pain, blame, and shame. I stopped trying to prove over and over again that God didn't love me. I stopped acting out the unconscious belief that I'm not loved or wanted. Despite what's in my past, I gathered the courage to tell my new crush I like him. Over the next days, he slowly starts to disengage. I shrug it off and make my way to the beach. A previous version of me would have ensured to count this as another rejection, but that's not how I choose to see it this time. By not labeling this as a personal rejection of me, I saved myself 3 months of insomnia. This wasn't about my relationship with God. I now know that God loves me. And so I trust that the universe has an even grander plan for me. But this still hurts, and I'm just glad that my self-esteem remains intact. I give thanks to my crush one last time. Honoring his free will, I lovingly let him go and focus instead on the love that I am receiving. When I arrive at the beach, the moonlight bathes every pore of my skin. The wind flirts with my pink dress, caressing my sun-kissed back. I feel I'm delicious desire. I feel overwhelming devotion and joy that makes me sing to the sea. I enter the cool water and let the waves twirl me. I am in what I call a peak love state, a state of mind that can be cultivated even in times of heartbreak. And now, this is what I teach in my coaching program, Love Again. In my journey to source love from within, I had to make a choice to trust in love. To trust that I'm loved unconditionally, regardless of others' approval of me. I had to practice loving myself just as I am, to accept all of my feelings without my own judgment. Self-acceptance allowed me to truly feel loved, held, and supported by the world around me. And I started to access love, not just here on Earth, but also from the stars. It was like having an on-demand app in my mind. I could tune into the frequency of divine love whenever I wanted. I no longer needed to test in order to trust. To conclude, I discovered that love is a bit like God. You can't really prove it, but you can choose to trust it.